Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into one of the juiciest tennis gossip stories of the year. Emma Raducanu spotted with Carlos Alcaraz at the Cincinnati Open. Now, I know what you're thinking. Are they just friends? Or is there something more happening off the court? Well, buckle up because we're about to break down everything we saw, everything we heard, and everything that made the internet go wild. From the moment they first locked eyes in Cincinnati, to Emma's shocking elimination in the third round, to Carlos's reaction that had fans whispering, wait a second, does he like her? And yes, we'll even talk about that mysterious lunch where Carlos looked like he was one step away from pulling out a ring. This is going to be a story you'll want to hear to the very end. So grab a snack, relax, and let's get into it. It all started in Cincinnati. Emma Raducanu, the 2021 U.S. Open champion who stole our hearts with her fearless game and bright smile, was back on the hard courts, eager to prove herself again. She walks into the stadium, calm, focused, ready for battle. But then there's Carlos Alcaraz, world number one, superstar, the face of men's tennis right now. He's just finished a training session, and instead of heading straight to recovery, he slips into the stands, low key, baseball cap pulled down, but unmistakable. And where does he sit? Right in the front row. Now imagine this. Emma looks up just before her warm up serve, and she spots him. Their eyes meet, just for a split second. But in that tiny moment, there's a connection. Her lips twitch into the faintest smile. He nods. The cameras almost miss it, but fans in the crowd swear they saw it. And let me tell you, Twitter exploded. Within minutes, people were posting clips with captions like, "Are we seeing what we think we're seeing?" The match begins, but there's this new tension in the air. Emma looks sharp. Carlos looks locked in on her every move. The crowd feels it. And honestly, it's like watching the start of a tennis rom-com. But then comes the heartbreak. Emma advances through her opening rounds, but in the third round, she faces none other than Belarusian rising star. Let's call her Arina Sabalenka, a dangerous player with a backhand that could slice through steel. And on that night, Emma just can't find her rhythm. She fights, she rallies, but Arena keeps answering with brutal winners. The first set slips away. Emma claws back the second, fueled by the crowd's cheers, and maybe by knowing who's watching her in the front row. But in the third set, the pressure builds. Arina breaks Emma's serve, then does it again. And just like that, Emma Raducanu's Cincinnati journey is over. She drops her racket, looks to the ground. For a moment, you can almost see the disappointment crash over her like a wave. And then the camera pans straight to Carlos. His face says it all. He's gutted. He leans back in his chair, shakes his head slowly, lips pressed together. That's not the look of a casual fan. That's the look of someone who cares deeply. One fan in the stands even swears Carlos muttered to his friend, "She deserved better. That wasn't her best today." And maybe that's just gossip, but doesn't it sound exactly like something he'd say? Back in the locker room, Emma's moment of solitude begins. She sits down, towel over her head, trying to hold back tears. Losing hurts, but losing when someone you admire is watching? That's another level of heartbreak. And then Carlos appears. Quietly, respectfully. He doesn't barge in, he doesn't make a scene, but he makes sure she knows he's there. He offers her a cold towel, maybe even a protein bar, because yes, Carlos is that kind of thoughtful. And he says in that calm, confident voice, "You were brilliant. Trust me. Emma looks up, eyes still misty, and manages a small smile. And in that moment, the loss doesn't feel so heavy anymore. Because sometimes support means more than victory. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. The very next day, guess who gets spotted together? Emma and Carlos at lunch. A quiet, chic bistro tucked in a corner of Cincinnati, away from the main tournament buzz. They sit at a small table, just the two of them. No coaches, no entourages. Just Emma, Carlos, and the sound of casual laughter drifting through the room. Emma's eating a salad, Carlos is sipping on a smoothie. At one point, he leans in, says something only she can hear, and she laughs. That full, head tipped back laugh we've seen before. And then, boom, a photographer snaps the moment. The photo hits social media within the hour. Emma laughing, Carlos smiling, both of them glowing. And the captions? Hilarious. One fan posts, "He's about to propose, I just know it." Another adds a heart emoji and writes, "Find someone who looks at you the way Carlos looks at Emma." And honestly, looking at that picture, you can't help but agree. But of course, the story doesn't end there. At the press conference later, Emma is asked about the rumors. She smiles politely and says, "Carlos and I are just good friends. We respect each other's games, that's all." Classic Emma, professional, poised, careful with her words. Then Carlos gets asked the same question. And what does he do? He grins. That cheeky half-smile grin. He says, "Emma's a great friend. Nothing romantic, promise." And the room chuckles. But come on, we've all seen that look. That's not just a friend grin. That's a "I've got a crush, but I'm not telling you" grin. The fans aren't buying it. The internet isn't buying it. And honestly, we're not buying it either. Now let's put this into context. Because tennis has a history of couples who start out as just friends before the sparks turn into flames. Remember Gail Monfils and Alina Svitolina? They went from practice partners to full-blown number couple goals in no time. Then there's Stefanos Tsitsipas and Paula Badosa, who went public with their relationship and instantly became one of tennis's most talked about power duos. Fans loved it because there's something magical about seeing two stars shine brighter together. So when people see Emma and Carlos, young, talented, charismatic, and clearly enjoying each other's company, it's hard not to imagine them as the next big tennis power couple. And here's the thing. Whether it's friendship, a crush, or something more, we can't deny that moment in Cincinnati meant something. The way Carlos's face dropped when Emma lost, the way she lit up during their lunch, the way they both denied dating with smiles that looked anything but convincing. It's a story still unfolding. Maybe nothing happens. Maybe they stay just friends, or maybe years from now we'll look back and say, "Remember Cincinnati? That's where it all began." For now, though, we watch, we speculate. We enjoy the drama, the mystery, and the joy of seeing our favorite players off the court as real people with real emotions. So there you have it, the Cincinnati gossip story of Emma Raducanu and Carlos Alcaraz. A tournament filled with highs, lows, laughter, and just enough sparks to make fans dream. What do you think? Are they just friends? Or is there something more between these two? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to hear every theory, every wild guess, every hope for tennis's next power couple. And as always, if you enjoyed this deep dive into tennis gossip, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss the next one. Until then, keep your eyes on the court and your hearts open to the stories that make tennis more than just a sport. See you in the next one.